And it would appear that perhaps freedom of speech is also becoming a problem. That's next. And welcome to Insight. I'm Paul Artur. Lines are open for your calls. 1-888-816-2545 anywhere in Canada. And I want to talk about a couple things today. Homelessness and also freedom of speech. Now, if you've watched this program for any length of time, you've probably seen our guest today. Actually, we have a couple of guests, but Art Pawlowski has been on with us before. Street Church in Calgary. For those of you who aren't familiar with this situation, let me give you a bit of a brief history here. Street Church is a downtown ministry. They minister in downtown Calgary, some of the most dangerous places, actually. People have been killed, actually, just meters away from their outdoor meetings, literally stabbed to death. They've had to perform CPR on them. So it's that kind of a setting. Lots of drugs going on, a lot of homeless people. And they have a number of volunteers in this church that go out to feed the homeless and clothe them as well. And they preach the gospel. And I think that's maybe where the controversy comes in. They use some loudspeakers, which is needed down there because, I mean, you're in a public park or on the street where you need to have your voice amplified to a degree in order for that message to be heard. So now they've had some complaints that came into the city last year over the noise levels. And it was quite a number of complaints, but only coming from a handful of people, as we later learned. And so that's caused a controversy because the city has responded by removing the permit to use amplification. They've also removed permits to feed the poor. So food handling permits, whatever they are, they're not technically allowed to do that anymore. And in fact, they've actually received some tickets for feeding the poor, which seems really weird. But there you go. All right, so they've had to appear in court on that, and they have more tickets to appear in court for down the road here. All right. Art also spent a night in jail once because of preaching to some people at the Fringe Festival, and there were some complaints about that as well. And so those issues are things that have gone to the courts, all right, and they face some more battles down the road here. So I guess part of the issue here I want to throw out too is now Pastor Art Pawlowski is fairly outspoken. Okay, now they've had some challenges here. His response has been not to lay down and say, okay, we'll do whatever you tell us. They've, I guess, waged a form of civil disobedience, not listening to the directives from bylaw officers and saying, you know what, we have the right, constitutionally, in our opinion, to use loudspeakers and to feed the poor, and we'll just take the tickets and, pay the consequences, whatever it may take. And there's an argument, I guess, on both sides. One is, as Christians, we're to respect the laws of the land. The other argument would be, well, you know what? When maybe God's laws are higher in this case because we need to reach the poor and the homeless. Okay, so you have this tension there. So is it being handled the right way? Are street churches' rights being violated? Some have said, maybe Art needs to be more diplomatic in his approach, and maybe he's making, his own problems here. And if he'd back off, things would go better for him. Or is the city, in fact, waging some sort of an anti-faith agenda, I guess, if you will. And the homeless in the meantime, are falling between the cracks. Okay, and whose job is it to help the homeless anyhow? We can talk about that too. Is it the government's job? Do they need to do more? Or is it the church that has dropped the ball in some fashion? All right, so your opinions on that. 1-888-816-2545. Let me introduce our guests from Street Church. And by the way, let me put a plug in here before I forget. They also have a program that airs here on the Miracle Channel, by the way. And that has started, I think, this last summer. It's called Evangelism in Action. And it airs on Saturdays, okay, at noon. So an easy time to remember, Saturdays at noon. You can check out. It's basically a collection of what they're actually doing downtown. Okay, you can see it airing right now. It just gives you snapshots of what's going on, some of the controversies they run into there. It's a bit of a reality show, if you will, okay, downtown Calgary. All right, good to have you here. Now, Art Pawlowski, of course, you're the co-founder, I guess, of Street Church, and Bogdan Stobiecki. I hope I got that right. I don't speak Polish real well, and you're both Polish background, I think, so, okay. But good to have you here. You're a Street Church volunteer, and you've been there for quite a few years. You've kind of seen this all from the beginning, so you have a good handle of what's going on. I think you were actually the cameraman filming Art when he got arrested in the park downtown for preaching, etc. And so there you go.
If you think about it.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing you were there. Otherwise, you may be in jail. Who knows? I mean, you did go to jail for one night, but thankfully you had the evidence on hand. And so let me know, where are we at right now? I kind of gave a description of what was going on. Did I miss some parts? Tell us.
Well, we are presently, as we speak, we are in courts. It's one of the most ridiculous court battles ever. When I brought the tickets to the Justice of Peace for...
You got a pretty big stack of tickets.
You know, they are tickets for feeding the poor.
Okay.
And so when I presented that, asking for a trial date, they look at the tickets, and the lady said, I have never seen something like this before. So she calls a co-worker, and they are older ladies. They're all live. They spend as Justice of Peace. They say, look at this. Like, I never saw something like this before.
So it looks like there's some tickets that really shouldn't have been written, in other words, is what they're saying.
Well, of course, offering goods or services on the street, like, I understand if you're breaking a law and you...
Yeah, but you're feeding the homeless, and basically you got a ticket on a technicality because you officially don't have a permit. Now, reality, were you causing anybody a problem? No.
No.
But it was written in order to get you to comply with the other issue, which was amplification. You know, and they don't want you to be using speakers. So.
And coming to amplification, some viewers remember, and as you remember, there was a time when the city of Calgary said that we are just too noisy. So we are breaking a noise, and there are complaints, and we will shut you down because you're too noisy. But remember this. To this day, we have never received a ticket for any kind of noise violation. In other words, we are in a perfect decibel level. I bought a decibel meter myself. I proved it to the media. I proved it to the bylaw officers, and they walked away because they know perfectly well we are within the law limits. So what the bylaw, Bill Bruce, said to me personally on one of the meetings we had, he said, yeah, but now we are hitting you with different kind of a law. So you lost your permit. But yeah, we lost the permit.
Yeah, the city has the power to take away those permits for whatever reasons they deem necessary, and obviously it's to force you to comply.
So we lost the permit based upon the noise violations that we were found never guilty of.
Right.
So now we don't have a permit, so they said you're not allowed to be in the park, you're not allowed to feed those people, you're not allowed to preach to those people, period.
Right, and I guess one of the arguments would be, well, if you just, listened to the city there and just used, no speakers, you'd still be in the same park without these problems sort of thing. So that's one of the arguments.
Yeah, you could be, but we have lots of social services, and they are completely failing. And we know that the only answer to the problems of homelessness is Jesus Christ, is the hope that changes their way of thinking.
Sure, and you and I believe that. And
that's right. And not only, even if you're not a believer, you watch and you judge by the fruit. Well, you have social services totally failing in addressing. You got the mayor's approach to homelessness, it's total failure. In a few years, it tripled. Like it's out of line.
It's an increasing problem, especially in Calgary, of course, because of the housing prices. You have a lot of, working.
You got 65% of working poor.
Yeah.
So what we do, we repeat the same message, giving them hope in the name of Jesus. And when they receive that hope, they're off the streets. And one after another, we have seen hundreds of people responding to the power of the gospel.
Right.
So we said, well, if it's working, why stop it?
Okay. So you're getting some results, you're saying, anyway, in this case. I mean, you're a volunteer. Well, what kind of results are you seeing? I mean, are people literally coming off the streets, or is that kind of, pie in the sky hope?
No, minister, especially one-on-one, we find out where the people come from. I would say
so ministering one-on-one, what do you mean by that? I mean, you're asking them questions,
we're
where are you at?
Talking like we have conversation, for example, right now, and the people open up where they come from. What I mean by that, they come from broken family, rejected, neglected, broken-hearted. And many of those people cannot keep work. The devil come and steal their hearts. I've been rejected. I come from my parents' divorce and rejection and insecurity come. And those people get to drugs, get to alcohol, prostitution. And when we share Jesus Christ, he said, I come to heal the brokenhearted.